Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Championship Leadership Podcast. And once again, we're going international. We got Stephen Summers from Ireland with us today, and excited to have you, Stephen. Thank you so much for taking some time with us.
Oh, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. A lot of work goes into these shows, so I'm really happy to be here to give as much as I possibly can today.
Yeah, absolutely. What time is it over there?
It's not bad at all. It's 5 p.m.
5 p.m.
So
there. Yeah.
just text my wife before we started and said, "What's for dinner?" I will find out whenever we're finished.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. So yeah, let's hop into it. Before we get too much into you and what you're up to and what you're all about, I always
Yeah.
like to kick us off. Championship Leadership's the name of the podcast. So what comes to mind for you when you hear championship leadership? What's that mean to you?
Well, a lot of lessons, that's for sure.
Yeah.
In that I never really, I suppose for a lot of my life, would have been considered a leader, and as a kid, I was captain of the soccer team and all of that. And as time went on, it's funny because in business,
You call
myself
it
and Robert,
soccer?
I call it soccer to localize for you. That's what I
Yeah,
do.
I,
I call
I,
it
I I
football.
got it. Yeah.
I know
Steve
my
does.
audience.
Football.
It's football. Yeah, we call it football over here. But again, if I said football in America, you would be very confused, which I
Yeah,
don't want to do.
absolutely. No, I get it. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I suppose as a kid, always that. But then as I got older, got into business with Robert, my business partner. We always said, "Oh, we don't want a team. We don't want to lead people. We just want to sell stuff on the internet." And funny, what happens? Long story short, it's years later, and now we have 75 team members and
Yeah.
thousands of clients.
Yeah.
So I guess a lot of lessons along the way, and the biggest one it was that sometimes you don't set out to be a leader; it just happens, and then whenever you see that you have the opportunity to become leader. Championship leadership to me means taking it seriously and
Yeah.
understanding that you have the obligation to your team and other people, and if you're going to lead them, you better be leading them in the right way and not, BSing people or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a true definition of leadership is not you become you end up leading the team because you are a leader. And sometimes I think people come into leadership for the wrong reasons, and they just like the idea of leading a large team and maybe some ego involved and not for all the right
Yeah.
reasons. So no surprise that it happened the way it did for you guys because of who you are and the leaders that you are and that you've evolved into. So yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. Appreciate it.
We definitely evolved.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, we all do. Hopefully learn from the times that we stumble and fall a bit and
Exactly.
keep moving forward. So
Yep.
well tell us a little bit more about what it is that you do and with your partner. You said Robert, is that right?
Yeah, Robert
Yeah.
Ricky. Yeah, so we do a lot of things now. Our main company that we would be known for is Marketplace Superheroes. So that's an education training business where we basically teach people all over the world how to sell their own branded products on Amazon all across the globe. But it's actually turned into multiple businesses, which I think a lot of people can take away from today,
Hmm.
especially if you have your own company. We just kept on following the challenges of our members. If they're learning how to sell on Amazon, the big logical challenge that they had was shipping their items from China, typically across to the US, UK, Australia, Canada. Their main markets that are we would trade in. And so we tried, partnering with people and all that. We ended up building our own freight business. It just made sense. So we own all of our own warehouses in all those countries. We'll ship about 8 million different items this year.
Okay.
Unique items, I should say,
Yeah.
unique like units, I should say,
Yeah.
not 8 million different products, but 8 million item units. And so we have that freight company, and also we do software and services then for our sellers. So we do all of their photography, translations, that kind of thing. So yeah, like one simple online program has translated into, a yearly 8-figure revenue business,
Yeah.
and to say 75 people. And yeah, we've won a whole bunch of awards, the 2 Comic Club awards and ClickPhones. I think we've
Yeah.
won 6 or 7 of those now. And
That's
I think
awesome.
we're about to get the 2 Comic Club X for 10 million. And I think soon after the other one. So look, we're just
Congrats.
regular Irish dudes, though. We're not guru guys. We follow our nose, we add value, and we make a little bit of sense along the way.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, that's incredible. What do you mean when you say you help people to sell their brand?
Yeah. So a lot of people come to us and they wanted to start a business, an online business. Like me, when I started, they had no clue. Like I often say, I was like a Homer Simpson of business back in the day. I really was clueless. And a lot of people come to us in that way. You know, they've been working in a job for a long time and made a bit of money. And they're just not happy and they wanted to build their own income. And of course, the pandemic has taught us all that things can change really quickly
Right.
in a matter of days, overnight. And so a lot of people, they are like, well, what business can I start? And of course, there's loads of different, let's call them opportunities on the internet. And the way we look at it is Amazon, it's a huge company. It's $1 trillion business now. And they generate more like 60, 70% of their business from their third party marketplace. So that's where you and I can sell our own products on Amazon. And what we do is we teach our guys how to go out and find products that are already selling on Amazon, but the offerings are not great. The offer's poor, the pricing's poor. There's room for improvement, and the market is big enough. And we teach them how to go and find those items, how to improve the offer, and how to actually manufacture their own branded version of their own product, new and improved, better, and then how to get that selling in multiple Amazon countries at the same time. And then they partner with us with our freight business to make their logistics really easy. So we teach them and then we partner with them long term because we're able to save them a ton of money on their shipments because there's
Mm-hmm.
thousands of people who want to ship the similar type stuff, right? Selling them on Amazon. So we've just niched down our whole service just for our own Amazon sellers. And yeah, it's amazing. You know, every day now we get new case studies of people who had no experience, and
Yeah.
there's some people are doing $1,000 a month, some people are doing 50,000 a month
Yeah.
and beyond, and it's just cool, you know.
That's incredible. What's that feel like to be able to help people to do that and to see them
It feels
change their
great.
world, right?
Genuinely, yes. And like everything, right? Like sometimes you're doing something for a long time, as Robert and I did. Then you go and we taught it because a lot of people asked us how to do it, and it just sort of went that way that we started teaching it. But then sometimes you're just like, is this really working? Are people really succeeding? And I
Yeah.
think that's important. And
Yeah.
so that's when we started interviewing our members pretty routinely, only people who wanted to do it. And it was at that point we started to really see the change that we were making in people's lives, not just like teaching them how to sell on Amazon, but we had to rewire people's beliefs about money and
Yeah.
what's possible and bad habits they would have had around money and stuff like that. So it's really become a lot more than just a course. It's like a bigger thing beyond that, like services and whatnot. But even beyond that, it's like, teaching people how to change maybe their belief that they would never have their own business. They could never have their own business. And we've seen a lot of members really progress. And that's huge for me because when I started, as I say, I was not good at business. I was really interested, but I had no experience. And that feeling of seeing other people is do well is great. And the beautiful thing is it's so transparent for us because our freight company, it can only succeed if our members are succeeding. And so we are constantly reporting on those numbers, how many items that we're shipping, because it motivates our community, but also it sets us apart from all these other people in this space who
Yeah.
honestly are just full of crap.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I was having a conversation with a guy, a friend last night, and he's got a business he's trying to get going, and he's trying to figure it out, and you get burnt by a lot of people that are full of crap, and that's happened to him. I think it's probably happened to all of us, and
Oh yeah.
unfortunately it is really hard to know who to trust after a while, and to
Yeah.
really find the people that really do care and are really trying to actually make a difference and help, like really give maximum value
Yeah.
in return for what they're offering. So yeah, it's incredible
Yeah.
to hear.
I think that
um,
for leaders as well today, they're listening to, like we said at the start, not BSing people is really important. And you're right. It's the same what you're saying there. It's like, I think the more you can you can tell people like, what do I get out of this? Really? Like we tell people all the time, listen, we're not Mother Teresa. Like we are not a charity. We are a
yeah, for
business.
sure.
But the
Yeah.
fact that we can both succeed is
Yeah.
great. And I think in this course space, I love online courses. They get a bad rap, I think, a lot of times because, okay, sometimes there's It's just people who shouldn't be teaching. They've no experience. And
Yeah.
I see it all the time and it frustrates me. But then other times it's people who are going through great material, but they're not executing. And even in our community, maybe 30% of our community properly execute. I wish it was more. It
Yeah.
would be great for our shipping business.
Yeah.
But that's just a reality. And I feel like as a leader, we can't be a savior, right? I can't go and save all those people who are not doing it. All I can do is continually be an example. And we do that by investing in our members. Just as another practical example for people listening, what you can do, we put our own money into our own members and we say, look, we'll help you grow your business faster, but in return, we want to be able to document the growth of your business so people can see what happens when you put your money in. And that's been big. So transparency is really important. And that's where people really, they trust you when you're transparent,
Yeah. Right. Yeah. 100%. Why don't you talk a little bit about maybe some of the championship leaders that have impacted you in your life, and what are some of the characteristics that really have stood out to you about those, coaches, mentors, leaders that have made a difference in your life?
Yeah, well, I think it would be only fair to say that my first mentor was, well, I've had others before him, but my first business mentor was Robert, my business partner. Without him, I would not be sitting here today. I was very fortunate. He took a chance on me and saw something in me, saw that I could do something, and of course, it's blossomed into this huge thing now.
Yeah.
So what he gave me was he helped me pull the trigger on things. Before I met Robert, I just found, it's funny, I just found a whole bunch of old journals from years ago. And it's just interesting reading back through them, because at the time I didn't execute on anything. Whereas now people, if they know me, they're like, Stephen, he's a guy, he's an implementer.
Yeah.
I wasn't back then. Robert taught me that skill. So he is someone who really changed my life in a positive way. Beyond that, there's so many, it's almost when I'm on the spot, I'm trying to think of all of them, but in different arenas, you take soccer, football, Sir Alex Ferguson, Manchester United manager. I'm a huge Manchester United fan. Another person who incredible, like what an amazing example of a leader. Sometimes a leader who led through, I suppose, just being a force of nature, but his results speak and spoke for themselves. I often look at him as a great example of someone who started out badly as a Manchester United manager. He was actually almost sacked within his first season. Okay. And look what happened. He became the greatest football manager of all time. So people like that as well. And it goes on, there's also philosophers out there who, I think philosophy is something we don't read because we think it's boring. But I'm telling you, if you start reading like Seneca and guys like that, oh my God, their lessons, those guys had figured out, thousands of years ago, are prevalent today. I think On the Shortness of Life by Seneca is one of the greatest pieces of literary, nonfiction that you can possibly read. So I've influences everywhere, and obviously females too. I mean, Sarah Blakely is Spanx and people like that from an entrepreneur standpoint are incredible. Oprah and whatnot, incredible. So yeah, I could go on all day, like I'm sure you could as well, about those.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate it. What's where do you go from here? What's the vision? Your championship leaders have incredible vision, courage to take action on it when others think you're crazy. What do you guys, what do you want to do? What's the impact you want to create?
Well, a lot of people think we are crazy, and they're probably right, like yourself. Our freight company is obviously a massive undertaking. We're constantly running out of space in our warehouses, but it's changing the game of e-commerce for a lot of small business owners. So to that end, we want to aggressively grow our freight company, help more people ship more profitably. But then we're creating a new project called Hero Dealz with a Z or Z, herodealz.com, which isn't live just yet, but it will be live in the not too distant future. And what we said we'd do there was, like, we've over 2,000 different products now that would be sold by ourselves as well as our members, the cumulative total of products. And we're like, Amazon's amazing. It's the best place to sell your products, but we wanted to give our members more opportunity, more ways to sell, more ways to grow their business. So we decided to build our own site, which is very different. It's not like Amazon. It's a more story-based website where we're going to tell the stories of our members. And so the big idea behind the site is behind every product, there's a person. And I feel like with Amazon, I love Amazon. It's an amazing place to sell, but it's also become, let's say, somewhat unpopular with people. Like they feel like, Amazon's evil and all the rest. I think it's similar to when Walmart first kind of came into the States and Canada and really started to take over the retail space.
Yeah.
So we've looked at that and said, well, look, if we can create a place where our members can sell more of their stuff, we can tell their stories, we can share what they're trying to do. That's another thing that we're bringing in. And so people would say, well, you're trying to compete with Amazon. We don't really see it that way, but equally trying to market, 2,000 different products is a crazy idea, but we want to figure it out. And we want to add more value to our members,
Yeah. Wow. That's great. I love it. What, I'm just trying to think about that a little bit more. The hero deal. So it's essentially your own marketplace, similar to Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, yes and no. So the idea is Amazon is a marketplace as well as being, they sell their own products. We
Sure.
wanted to build our own site where we will sell the products, and we're really looking to do things that Amazon doesn't do and can't
Yeah.
do because it's so big. It's a
Right.
humongous.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
millions. Amazon sell millions of products. People
Yeah.
don't understand that, like, it's millions.
Yeah.
And so for us, we wanted to create more of a curated experience where the listings are like really handmade, let's call them. Like, so much effort's gone into everything. And I have to say, our designers have sent back some of the initial, proofs and whatever, and it looks unbelievable. And we're
Yeah.
really excited about it. And
Awesome.
the cool thing is our audience can buy stuff from other members as well as
Yeah.
spread the word. And
Sure.
so we feel like it's just a huge opportunity to build something that, and maybe we'll fall flat in our faces. We haven't done so far, but maybe we will. But we'll
Yeah.
go down fighting. That's for sure.
Yeah. Right. Uh, yeah, that's incredible, and that's definitely championship leadership. Taking some risks and going after what it is that you want, right?
That's what it's all about. We all have different beliefs about what we can and can't do. When I started out Marketplace Superheroes with Robert, it was so funny because we were just selling our own stuff on Amazon. That's all we did. I remember Robert saying, what would be a good number if we made this from Marketplace Superheroes where we'd be happy? That'd be a good solid amount of money that we made. I remember we drew it on a whiteboard. It was like 300 grand. That was where we thought we'd get out of it, And so funny how small our vision was back then.
Yeah.
And as time has gone on, then we've kept up leveling that,
Right.
that leadership and that vision. And so I think a lot of people will say, well, I always knew I was going to be whatever, a millionaire. I always knew. And I just think that's a lot of crap. We don't know. We
Right.
don't know, like,
Yeah.
because we're only imagining a slightly better version of our present. And I think that's for anybody listening, like, you've no idea what your actual potential is. I still don't know. I mean, I see you as well, Nate, like you're doing unbelievable stuff that I haven't done yet, like kind of the sports stuff you're doing and everything. And it's like, wow, I don't think I could ever do that. But I just took up running recently properly. And, every day I'm pounding a bit more road and you just keep moving forward every day, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's what it's all about for sure. Let's switch gears. What's like what I call, I guess, a critical moment or a kind of turning point in your life where you kind of come to that fork in the road and obviously you've made the decisions you did to get where you are today, but had you not be very different. I think we all have many of these moments in our life, but there's usually a few that really stand out.
Yeah.
And I think as we've talked, 2020 and coming into still today, it's been difficult times. Things have changed in an instant, and a lot of us are probably going through a few more of those than we have in the past. It's powerful to hear how others choose and decide in those moments. Is there one or two that comes to your mind that you could share to give to the listeners?
Yeah, one of them may seem inconsequential, but it genuinely changed my life. It's from a long time ago, but I'll share it if you don't mind, because I love it. So when I was a kid, I loved soccer and I loved it, but I was a really fast sprinter, right? I could outrun anybody, but what I couldn't do was kick the ball properly, which is kind of fundamental if you're playing
Yeah, yeah,
soccer.
yeah, right.
We call it a toe poke over here. I don't know what you call it in America. Maybe you call it the same thing, where you kick the ball with your toes rather than your instep or your side of your
Yeah,
foot.
okay. Yep.
This is what I used to do, right? And my manager was like, you can't do this. Like, you just not. So he just started putting me on the bench, right? I was a substitute. And I kept on asking, when am I going to come on? When am I going to come on? He's like, not today, not today, not today. Long story short, it got to a point where I would only get a run now and again, and I would be okay. And then one day I was getting out of my car with my parents, and he said, don't even, we call it tog out, put on just clear your stuff today. There's no point. You can watch the match if you like, but you're not in the squad. Now, I was only about 11 at this point in my
Oh,
life, right?
wow.
I was a kid. Now it gets
Dang.
worse though. It gets worse, but more interesting. So I'm really upset. I'm just so upset. I go home. I'm on my bed crying and everything. And my mother and father were not entrepreneurs, and still aren't, but they taught me some big lessons. And this was one of them. My dad I can't remember. My dad said, "Are you gonna let this person tell you you're just not good enough? What are you gonna do?" And I was like, "I don't know." And they said, "Why don't you call him tonight and ask him why you're not in the team?" So I did. I was 10, whatever it was, 10 or 11. Called this manager, this man,
Yeah.
and I just said, "Look, why am I not in the team? Why will you never play me?" And his words were, "You're not part of the winning combination," right? Now, a lot of people are like, "That's pretty extreme," but I think he was annoyed that like I was questioning him or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kind of get it as I get older. He's probably annoyed that I was just bothering him. He was trying to have his evening off or whatever.
Yeah.
So I really reflected on that, and I remember that summer. It was the end of the season. I just said, "You want to know something? I'm going to show this guy." So every day, I heard if you get a tennis ball, you kick it against a wall, you can get so much better with your skill, ability.
Yeah.
Every day I was with the tennis ball, kicking it against the wall every day, and getting better and better and better and better. And I changed team that season because I thought I'm going to go somewhere else, get a fresh start. Within 1 year, I went from could not get into the other team to becoming captain of my entire county
Yeah.
when I was
Awesome.
12. And then that changed. And then I was told at that age that you're on the way to become a professional soccer player. Just keep
Wow.
going.
Wow.
And then I had a lot of these problems in my knees, Osgood Slatters, and it's called,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
all these other kind of physical problems. And then a doctor told me at one point, you're physically just not going to be able to maintain soccer. Your body's just not going to be able for it. But anyway, the point is, I went from never getting in the team to really understanding the value of hard work, to
Yeah.
understanding as well, we're not always gifted at things, and that's okay. But if you're prepared to work for it, you absolutely can rise above it. And I forgot those lessons. I forgot that lesson for a number of years in my life. And then I kind of remembered it when I was in my early 20s and not happy with where I was in my life. And I realized, I was trying to make it in the music industry before that. And I wasn't putting forth that same effort and intensity as I was when I was younger. And then I put that forth in my early 20s. And, nowadays we have multiple 7, 8 figure companies and all the rest, because you don't have to be the most talented, but in my opinion, if you're not talented, you have to make up for it with hard work. And
Mhm.
I've never just naturally been good at very many things, although speaking is probably the thing I'm most natural at, communication. But other than that, I've had to work hard, even with Marketplace Superheroes. Like I did webinars, spent a ton of money on ads. Nobody
Yeah.
bought anything because they sucked. They were awful.
Yeah.
And that was a moment for me to dig in and go, right, where did I go wrong? How can I get better? So I don't know if that is what you were looking for, but I think that story changed my
Yeah.
life.
Beautiful. I love it. That's perfect. And at such a young age. That's
Yeah.
can be crushing. And I love that your dad had you get on that phone. You had the courage to make that call, and he gave you kind of a BS answer, which is but maybe the winning comment, it's like we're like, what is that? What is that? What does that mean? They're like, tell me, what am I not doing fundamentally that's not
Yes.
working for you that like I could work on and improve on? But you took
Yeah.
it, and you just knew that obviously you needed to get better, and you wanted
Yeah.
probably a piece of you that wanted to redeem yourself and maybe even show
Yeah.
the guy
I
that like,
think
hey,
we
this.
know the answers to that, like
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't kicking the ball properly. I knew those things, but
Yeah.
maybe a part of me just didn't want to admit that. And I think
Yeah.
it's so much easier, isn't it, to like as well. A huge thing I see with people I meet all the time And we see it in the media every day and everything. Like the biggest problem in the world right now is that people don't take responsibility, and obviously you have things like extreme ownership, Jocko Willink and stuff like that, which I'm sure big into. And again, it is that like you are responsible for everything. And I actually took up playing golf a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd ever say those words, but I did. Because I was terrible at it. And I was like, I want to get better at this damn sport. Like, this is ridiculous. And so my buddy is a scratch golfer and he taught me how to play. I'm still not good, by the way. But the thing about golf that I love is no matter what you do, it's your fault. Because you're hitting the ball. It's your fault. Like, and it's empowering though, because you can improve then.
Absolutely. Yeah, golf is a humbling sport for sure. And it's one that really does require practice. Repetition for sure. But what's as we start to wrap this up, what are one or two things that if the listeners were to take away, implement today, would help move their life forward today? What would that be for them?
I have something really practical that I love, I believe in with all my heart, and this: if you get 100% effort in any given time, we all know about the 80-20 rule, right? Where 20% of our inputs create 80% of our results. So with that in mind, you've got two sides of the coin to be successful. You've got production, doing things, implementing, and you've got consumption, which is like learning, taking on new information, stuff like that. A lot of people, myself included, when I started, our ratio was mine was for sure 80% consumption, 20% production. And that's a recipe for going nowhere fast. What you've got to do to change your life, and I mean immediately, is just switch that around. Where if you can produce 80% and you can consume 20%, that means you're producing 4 times more than you're consuming. And so every single day, you can make massive strides forward. And then added to that idea, then, just for everybody listening, is something called the 12-week year. It's a book. You can read it if you want, but the concept is really simple. And it's just that in a 12-week period of time, you can create a year's worth of progress. And I thought, is that true? Is that possible? And it's not necessarily possible with everything, but in business, it's definitely possible. And you just start looking at your quarters within your 12 weeks. And then you start to put in your plan where you're executing it 4 times more than you're consuming. And your life in 12 weeks will change. I mean, there's no way it can't,
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm a big believer in that as well. So yeah, I appreciate those. And for the listeners, just like anything, take what you've heard today and just don't make this a cool experience to listen and take up some of your time, but go take some action and implement on those things to help move your life forward. So Stephen, what are a few ways if listeners are interested in your course and learning how to do what you guys teach and
sure,
to make some more money and create some more revenue inside their life, to increase their lifestyle? How can they find out more about you guys and what you're up to?
Yep, sure. So if you just go 2 places, I'd recommend you can go to marketplacesuperheroes.com. Make sure it's HEROES.com. It's the longest URL in the world. I'm going to have to change it at some point. But we've been doing this for years and it's worked out pretty well. But marketplacesuperheroes.com. And then the second thing you can do is go to YouTube and type that in and go check out our channel. We've got so many videos that will teach you so much. And it's enough for you to at least look at it and go, is this something I'm into? If it is, great. And if it's not, that's fine. But at least there's somewhere you can go and check it out. And we have case studies there from members and all that all the time. You'll see it. It's really cool. So there'd be the 2 places. If you just do marketplacesuperheroes.com/gift, GIFT, there's a 7-day free training program in there for you. It's really good. And it's not going to pitch you any nonsense. You're going to get a lot of value over the 7 days.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we'll get those linked up too for the listeners as well. So
thank you.
Appreciate you so much for taking some time across the pond, as they say, I believe, and
that's right,
chatting it up. I appreciate it, man. It's been awesome.
Thanks for having me. It takes a lot of effort to do this, so thank you for putting in the effort and for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Have a good day.
You too.